My name is Paul Haines. I'm with PC Haines Wall and Ceiling Contractors. I'm an estimator here. We're drywall, steel stud, acoustical ceiling, EFIS contractors. We do probably 80% schools, 10% prison, municipal buildings, the other 10% taking care of our customers. I started running DPC at probably a good 4 years ago. It was just right after they came out with it. They wanted some people to look at it and fool with it. And I was one of the first. We probably run 25, 30 jobs through DPC. It's just totally mind-blowing to know that before we used that, the only time you could ever tell where your job was at was the end of the job, long after you could have done anything about any messes, and you looked at your accounting program. And only if you had every dime in did you know where you're at. With DPC, as you're going through the course of a job, since your hours are directly correlated to how much material in a job, if your hours are working out, then you know your material is pretty dang close, because that's where you come up with the estimate. And if you see a problem and it runs right up in red, and you give you time to react onto it. I've had jobs that in some situations, different areas, say shaft wall or gang bathrooms, they were so bad, and we got into it and we got with the guys and we told them, we showed them that we're having a major problem. And just like that, just by letting the guys know that we weren't making out, they picked up the productivity right then and there, because they knew that you were aware that the problem was there. Half the time you can't tell your guys that there's a problem because you really don't know yourself. I mean, it comes back to the fact, how accurate is my cost code system I'm using right now? Can I really jump on the guys because I'm not quite sure? Right there it is. And we would see 6 to 7% on a job. Now, we're typically right around 14, 15% all the time. I think what separates me from my competitors is the fact that my overhead is very low, whereas theirs is very large. Because they're not using the software that's out there to make their companies more operating efficient. You'll have a company the same size of mine, and they'll probably have 5, 6, 7 people in their offices. Whereas here, I have 2.5, and that is only up 6 months ago. We were doing $4 to $5 million a year, and it was just me in this office. Okay, so anytime you're doing that, your operating expense, if you want, you can bring it down because your overhead's not there. Not necessarily saying that I don't do it for the same markup as they do. I mean, I'm a firm believer that just because I have a system that saves me money and time, that I should give it away, because I'm not going to do that. You know, if they're getting 10 cents for their apple, I want 10 cents for my apple.